Welcome to the Love and Victory Show with Val, the place to laugh, sip on a little wine, and have open and honest conversation. Here you will find the tools to resolve real life issues. Unwind, pour up a glass, and get ready to exhale. Coach A.D, how do you deal with or dealt with failure?
Well, I think that when you shift your mindset to accepting the fact that failure is a part of the process, that it changes how you perceive failure. Because naturally, we don't want to fail. We want to be successful in everything that we do, but that's not real life. That's not how things are going to happen. Because if everyone was successful, then we wouldn't necessarily have, people that are homeless, people that have not graduated, whatever. So understanding that you are not perfect, number one, and because you are not perfect, you will not be successful 100% of the time. There's going to be some failure, whether it's at a small level, a big level, you name it. If it's personal, professional, relational, familial, you name it, there's going to be some failure that is going to take place. Now, how do you embrace that? Because you shift your mindset to believing that failure, number one, is a part of the process. Number two, is something that I can learn from.
That's what I was getting ready to say.
Yeah.
Because failure is not all bad.
Mm-mm.
Because in order for me to grow, you have to experience something. Because let me just back up on that. If I'm expecting to grow and the road is all smooth and there are no bumps, where is the growth?
Well, where there could be growth, but what I would like to say is the failure.
How do I deal with the obstacles?
How do you deal with some type of opposition, right? How do you deal with the friction that may come that is necessary with typical growth? So if there's no friction along the line, you are going to need that type of failure to make you appreciate the success that you have at the end. Right? The marathon race is difficult for a reason because there's a process that needs to be completed, training, hydration, nutrition, all that, so that you can successfully complete the race that you have been given. That's a whole nother, you about to take me somewhere. That's a whole nother conversation.
Well, we're going there because I want to know, have you dealt with any failure?
Oh, 100%. 100% failure.
Just give me one.
So I'll give you a gamut because I am not a
I love the
failure,
transparency.
but I have failed. Relationally, athletically, as a former football player, academically, there has been failure in each of those aspects. But as you have said, the failure has taught me something about myself. With the relationships, was I in this relationship? Was I intentional? Was I doing this because everybody else was doing it? Was it the comfortable thing to do at that point in time? Or was I being genuine with the person that I was in a relationship with? Academically, did I follow the syllabus? Or did I just wait until the last minute to submit the grade and I did
Turn
not
the
give,
assignment
Exactly. Professionally, have I failed because I didn't give 100% to the career that I was in? All of those things.
Or was I really into the career, or was I there for a check?
And that is a conversation that I have because I'm a part of the onboarding process for my job, my 9 to 5. And the first thing that I tell them is that, hey, whether you are here just to get a check or you have aspirations to become more within the company, I respect either one, but you have to identify where you are in this process.
You individually.
You have to make that identification.
When you get here, you have to figure out, what are you here for?
And there's a question that I ask within the onboarding. It's two-phase. What is your expectations of the company? And then what should the company expect from you? Because I think a lot of times when you go into a situation, the company has expectations, show up to work on time, follow these procedures and policies, great. But the associate that is being brought on doesn't have those or similar expectations for the company. And because of that, you get stuck in a 9 to 5 situation to where there's no advancement. There's no, you hate coming to work.
Right.
Because you haven't established expectation. And then because you haven't established the expectation, the company can't meet it.
Well, most of the time, when you apply for that job, you was just applying for that job because you wanted more money.
Oh, yeah.
And when you go into a job just looking for more money, you're already going into the job
for the wrong reasons.
for the
Yep.
wrong reasons. So for me, it's already at a failure state.
Mm-hmm.
If I go into the job because there is something I can give to this company and there's something that this company can give back to me,
Yeah.
now you have to also go into that job with the expectation it may not be a longevity.
Right.
It
It's a
may not-
relationship.
It's a relationship. And I'm going to see where this journey takes me.
It needs to be mutualistic. It needs to be a situation to where the company is going to give to me, I'm going to take. The company is going to take from me, I'm going to give.
I like that.
It has to be that, because if it's not mutualistic, then it's going to become parasitic to where someone is taking and nobody else is giving.
That piece right there. Can you repeat that right there? That was a trinket. That was a trinket. It needs
So-
to be what?
So with any professional or personal relationship, it needs to be mutualistic, meaning that both parties give and there's equal sacrifice. So with equal sacrifice, that means that one party is giving, the other party is receiving, and then it flips. Well, party B is receiving, party A is taking. When there is a situation to where there is one person that is consistently giving, it becomes parasitic.
Yeah. Oh.
Like there's a parasite that is in your
For
stomach.
those people
Yeah.
at the back of the pew
Come
that
on,
may not
pews.
understand what parasitic means,
Yeah.
can you break that down for us?
Yeah, so if you think of, like, if you eat bad food, right, and you ingest a parasite, the parasite
Did y'all hear?
the parasite does not give any value to being in your body to you. It is only feeding off of what you eat. So it's only taking,
It's only taken.
right? And then while it is taking, you are not receiving the nutrients that you need. Typically, you're losing weight, you're getting sick, all those other things. And then the parasite has to be removed in order for you to either get back to normal or get back to where you once were on a success level. And a lot of relationships are like that. Like, right, whether it's an abusive relationship where the person is taking, and someone else is always giving. So the cup that they're pouring from is consistently empty because somebody is always taking. And we want our cup to run over. What's in the cup should be for me.
Can you?
What's out of the
This
cup
is the candid conversation with
should be for
Val.
you. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Coach Adonis.
Yeah.
He's coaching us right now. Did you hear what he just said? We need to be what?
Mutualistic in our relationship, because if we're not, then we will be parasitic.
I'm going to move on. Failure. Oh, God. Are you afraid of failure?
At one point in time, I was, because I believe that we've been conditioned to believe that failing means that you are a failure.
Oh, wow.
And that's not true.
It's not. It is so not.
It's not true. And the sooner you realize that because you have failed, that does not make you a failure, it changes and shifts your perspective to what it means to fail.
Oh, wow.
Because there's a very small trigger that goes off for me when people say, I've taken an L or I've taken a loss.
Yes. Okay, I thought it was just me.
No. Well, it's personal for me because, and we can have this conversation offline, but you may have experienced a loss, but if you continuously look at it as a loss, your perspective is skewed. It's really a lesson how not to do something.
That's all it is.
That's it.
It's that simple.
And if you look at it like that, okay, cool. This is how I was supposed to balance this equation or handle this relationship or run my business. Now, the question is, how much leeway do you have and how many lessons can you learn accurately
and how could your business, how much?
before it becomes an actual loss?
There it goes.
That's the question that I have.
Well, how much failure does it take to get your attention?
That's a great question, because I think that is relative to the person.
But is it relative to the person or is it relative to the situation?
I think it's relative to the person, because the person has each person has a different level of awareness or exposure to the specific situation.
Oh.
If you have 10, 20 years of business experience and there's a lesson that comes with handling or managing the individuals on your team with regard to retention, you name it. It's different because that specific person has a different level of exposure than the person that's an entrepreneur
That's true.
and they're just getting started.
Well, let's talk about relationships.
Okay, well, same
Okay.
thing. If you're someone who has been divorced or been in a relationship that you know what the standard is, it's different than the person who is just jumping off their first relationship, whether it be an intimate relationship or familial.
Well, if they've been in a relationship for a couple of years and that relationship keep yielding them the same, I don't know why I'm going there, but I'm going there.
Go ahead.
And that relationship is yielding them the same result. At what point do you recognize that that relationship is a failure or is, I don't know.
Well, I think with our community and just this generation of individuals in 2022, we have a tendency to really, and we don't do it, we do it without doing it.
Okay.
If you look at the stock market, there is a point in time where you should buy and where you should sell, right? We don't look at our relationships that way.
Oh, wow.
Okay, I've invested this much. I've bought this much relational stock with this person, and it's not yielding me the results that I should have. I'm not in the green with this relationship.
So I'm just going to stay in it?
Would you do that if it was a stock?
Absolutely
You
not.
would sell.
You would sell out.
You buy low, you sell high.
Hold on, y'all. I told y'all.
So,
Coach AD is giving it to
so when it comes,
I need you. I'm sorry. I don't mean
No,
to
no,
keep
no,
cutting
come
you
on,
out.
come on,
because
come on.
there is some candid baby
Yeah.
that need to hear that on the relationship side.
So there's a relationship that you've invested your time, effort, and energy into, and it is not yielding you the return that you had projected. Because again, we're thinking stocks.
Yes.
So if I were to buy Tesla right now, if I was to buy Apple stock right now, I would be spending or contributing, making a large investment. But the projection is that I'm going to have a high return. Right?
Right.
So likewise, in the relationship, if I'm investing this, if I'm coming to your birthday parties, if I'm coming to this function, if I'm building you up when you're down, if I'm the person that's giving you financial assistance, however you have invested, if the projection does not equate to the return that you are looking for, why have you continued to invest?
Oh. Oops. Okay.
I'm just thinking rational.
we're just-
I'm just thinking numbers.
You made that simple.
I'm just thinking numbers.
You made that. You know what?
So just let's go a little bit further.
Go
if you're
deeper.
the person that's always calling, if you're the person that's always
y'all hear
text
that?
messaging, if you're
Listen.
the person that's always inviting, but there's not a return that you are looking for. I had to do this during COVID. I had this conversation with my wife because I'm a relational person by nature. And it is normal for me to reach out to check in with my family, with my friends. You realize who is reciprocating that investment when you stop initiating communication.
And it's funny you say that because I'm at a place in my life. I've done so much pouring in that I really now feeling like at this point, let me see what's coming back. And the ones that come back, I give it back. The ones that I'm no longer. And is that a wrong thing to do?
There's nothing wrong with it.
It's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with it. There are relationships that I've had, friendships that I've had that in that specific season I thought would stand the test of time. Life happened. We went our separate ways. I aspired to do more. I was exposed to different and greater. And it wasn't anything against those individuals. It's just, I'm over here now. I want you to be on this side.
I want you to be on this side.
But if you don't want to be on this side, no problem. I'm just not coming over to your side.
And it's nothing about, and that's the same thing in any relationship. We like to put relationships, personal relationship, professional relationships, acquaintance in different buckets. But all relationships are the same, just like you broke down about stock. Wow, if it's not yielding anything.
Because then, so we're talking about falling up.
Falling up.
And I think the first thing that came to my mind when your phenomenal associate Crystal sent me the email with the actual title of the conversation, I was like, falling up. How do you fall up? And I was like, wait, is this a typo? Did she mean fall forward or fall down?
She said falling up.
And what that meant to me, what initially came out was when you expose yourself to greater and fail, right? If you're working at McDonald's, flipping hamburgers, and now they give you the opportunity just for one night to run the shift. And you fail. The company is not going to fail.
It's not.
It was just one day.
It was just one day.
But now you know how to be successful and what not to do because you have been given that opportunity. You've been exposed to something greater or been given more responsibility in a sense, and you have failed up. Individuals who have not been given that same opportunity won't be exposed to the same lesson that you have been exposed to.
And wow, I nothing else has to be said on that. I'm going to move on to this last one. What advice would you give to people who focus too much on failure?
When you say focus too much, I think that the majority of us focus too much on failure because I am a firm believer that where your focus goes, your energy flows. So if you're focusing on failure, guess where your energy is going to go?
You're going to fail.
You're going to fail. So if we shift with all of the coaching that I do, the first step, and it's not even intentional, it's just the first thing that has to be done is you have to shift your mindset. And people are like, well, that's not tangible, AD. How can I see that my mind shift? Okay, where does your focus go? Are you initially a glass half empty type of person or a glass half full? Because with the glass half empty, you're pessimistic in your nature rather than being optimistic. And there's a naivety that comes with being optimistic. That's okay.
That's okay.
Because now you are hoping for something that you may not necessarily have been exposed to before. And the environment that you are around, again, we look at our culture, most of us look at the failure as a loss versus a lesson. If you look at any billionaire, millionaire, Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, any of these individuals, they are okay with failing.
They're okay.
They're okay with it. Now, granted, they have a lot more leeway to fail.
They have a lot more. They have a lot more stock.
A lot more stock to fail, but they're okay with it. With our culture, it is much more detrimental if we fail, and I believe that's one of the reasons why we are afraid of it. So again, where your focus goes, your energy flows. So if you're focused on failure and the mindset or the perception that you have of failure is negative, your energy is going to go to the negative.
So could that be why our culture tend to just go in small versus just go? Because I do believe that God puts something innate in all of us. Mm-hmm. He puts the same gifts, well, I don't necessarily know the gifts.
He puts gifts.
He puts the ability in all of us. And we all have gifts. And so please correct me, minister. Okay.
Go ahead.
But I do believe that we all have it in us.
Yeah.
And so if he puts it in all of us, why is it that some of us in our culture get it and some of us are afraid? So we play the short game. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by the short game, if I can just do a little bit of this versus putting our best foot forward. And please, I don't want to offend anybody when I say this, but I feel like when you step on stage, step with your very best. Because what you show and what you do is how people are going to judge you. We're in a society where everything moves very quickly. Mm-hmm. And people judge you based off of what they see. Then they get to know you.
Yes.
And so if I show up at a restaurant to go eat, and this restaurant, I've been hearing, oh, this restaurant is opening up, and there's a really good restaurant. And when I get there, there is no host. There is one server. And the same person that check me out, it's going back to cook my food.
Me and Crystal not going to that restaurant no more.
Okay.
We're not going back to that restaurant.
We're not going back.
We're not going
Why
back.
do we do that to ourselves?
So I this
And it's a touchy subject.
it is, and again, it's when we talk about failing up, there's a level of exposure that we think that we are not privy to, right? So
I like
if
that
you've
word.
if you've only flown standby because you have a family member that works at the airlines and they get you this free ticket, nothing against it,
Get off my phone.
nothing against it,
Get off.
because AD has flown
Is you
standby.
Hold on.
I'm just saying.
Stop. I'm trying to leave Arkansas
Right.
yesterday,
Uh-huh.
and there is someone at the counter showing out because a family member gave them a standby ticket.
Yeah. So I'm going somewhere.
So go there.
So I've had family members and friends that have worked at the airlines, and I was the king of buddy passes when I was in college. I went to school in Oklahoma, and it's an 8-hour drive back to Houston, like a 30-minute, 45-minute flight back. So, of course, I want to fly, but I'm a college student.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to pay
ain't
for
paying
no
no
round-trip ticket.
yes.
And going from Tulsa to Houston, there's not a lot of people on their flight. Standby, easy. I had my one of my family members set me up through United, and I had a real close friend who set me up through Southwest. So I had a way to get back to Houston if there was a situation going on. But the standby, you got to sit and wait. You got to wait, right? Because you don't necessarily have a purchased ticket.
Right.
Then you have the different exposure level if you purchase want to get away type of ticket.
That's a
little different. Cheaper ticket,
but you really gonna
but
wait.
you board typically last.
Oh, so
Okay.
you like on Spirit.
You get whatever is available.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No.
Nothing against Spirit.
If Spirit wants
We're
to
not
sponsor,
talking about
come on,
Spirit, sponsor us.
If you get what's available.
Okay, that's a good way of putting it. He's more experienced.
And then when you fly first class, first time I flew first class was when my wife and I celebrated her 30th birthday. We went to Jamaica. Same sandals setup that you and Pops went to. My first time, but that's okay. We were in the grill. I think y'all were in Montego Bay.
Yeah, we were in Ocho.
Ochos Rios, yeah, okay. So we flew first class to Jamaica.
Amazing.
So the exposure is different.
It's completely.
I'm not even on the plane yet. We get United Club access, so there's free food, drinks, complimentary this,
Another
complimentary
level.
that. Totally different.
Next level.
And then when you get on the flight, you board first. You have twice as much space.
Yes.
You get served first.
Yes. While people
You
still
are
getting
a
on.
priority.
You are a priority.
And because they label it as priority boarding.
They do.
I'm going somewhere. And when you get off, you are the first to leave.
Yes.
You know, everybody gets on the plane, everybody jumps up, gets their stuff, and they have to wait. Not when you're in first class.
No.
So then you exit. You are the first to get off. You're typically the first to get your bags. Right? So there's a different experience that comes with that situation. And I believe that with our culture, we limit ourselves to the level of exposure because we are so focused on, I talked about this a couple of radio sessions ago, we're so focused on living on the right side of the menu instead of the left.
Wow.
We're looking at the price.
Wow.
Well, I'm not going to spend $200 for
When
a
I can
one-way.
get the
When
same-
I can, I'm just going.
I'm just going and I'm going to get on the same plane
But
you
there's
getting on.
there's a level of experience that comes with
Wow.
that exposure that comes with that experience that is just different.
And so if we expose ourselves to a little something extra.
It allows, so again, following up, when you are in a scenario where you are at a higher situation, a higher experience, or whatever, it allows you to make the mistake, learn from it, and then reinsert yourself into that same environment and be successful. And I think that is the thing that people don't really connect with when it comes to failure. So when we talk about following up, okay, cool. You've only been an associate for so long. You apply for a leadership or supervisor position. You're not successful there. You fail. Okay, cool. But now, if you were to apply for another one,
you know exactly what to do.
You failed up.
Ooh,
you followed up.
did y'all hear people what he said about focusing too much on failure? Well, this has been a very candid conversation. Oh my God. I hate to end it. I hate to end it. We have something for our what listeners?
Oh, so
go ahead. Tell.
Now I'm hipping Mama up to some games.
Yes,
and
we're
gonna get her whole community set up.
Yes,
a text community.
Yeah,
and a Patreon.
Yes,
so that a lot of these conversations that she is having, that we are having off camera, you all will have access to, because I think that. When you develop a community of individuals who are completely connected to your brand, your perspective, your thoughts and ideals, and then your exposure, you are able to galvanize those troops and say, hey, I'm doing this. I need y'all to come and support.
Wow.
I'm a part of a couple of communities that are like that. And simply because of the community, if this person says, hey, I have this event sold out, simply because of the community. They get first dibs. I got a book that I'm about to push out. This is what you got going on. I have this event that I'm about to do. You guys get first dibs. And now, because my community, my Patreon, has bought into the vision, what's left over is for general admission.
Okay, well, I want to tell y'all this. If y'all haven't heard anything about Coach over here has something for you guys. He has something for me. I want you guys to all know that the Love and Victory Show with Val, the candid conversation, is serious about feeding the community.
That's good. Feeding
people that have been through something but really want to see the other side of it. I absolutely love you guys. I hate to end this conversation. As y'all know, my coordinator over there is telling me it's time to cut it off.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God. Cut
it off for the free folks.
For the free folks.
There we go.
But there is another conversation that goes on behind camera.
And if you want to be part of that conversation, if you want access to it, you got to subscribe to the Patreon.
Did you hear? And they're going to tell y'all about the Patreon. And I want to say to my candid babies, I absolutely love you. You guys have been my day ones. I'm grateful. I'm thankful. And I shall never forget you guys. Please never, ever, 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 ever take my love for granted. You can follow us on the Love and Victory Show with Val. As Crystal always say, everything Love and Victory with Val. Down below, you'll be able to see all of our Instagram, Facebook, and all of the other. What do they do? Subscribe. We love you. Bye.